Hey everyone, I've got an assortment of digestive bitters here today because we're going to talk about tummy problems and how digestive bitters may help, including how to save money by making them at home yourself, examples of them, if they're safe for children, and so on. Welcome to Ask Wardee for another week. I'm so thrilled you're here. The show notes, the transcript, the links, everything I'm sharing step by step, you can find at askwardee.tv. Look for episode 129. So let's get into Rachel's question. She says, hello, I have a question about digestive bitters. I've heard about them and even read about them a little bit, but are you able to condense in an understandable way exactly what they are and how they're helpful? Also, where do you get good quality bitters and how often do you suggest taking them? What about giving them to children? Thank you. Thank you, Rachel, for your question. And because we're featuring it on today's Ask Wardee, you're going to get a gift, a free mini e-course. And I think our team has already been in contact with you to give that to you. So thanks again. So let's go through your questions. What are digestive bitters? Well, put very simply, digestive bitters are food compounds. They can come from roots, bark, leaves, the fruit, the berries of plants, and they have beneficial properties to help with digestion. So they're either eaten raw, if possible, or they're isolated into different forms so that they can stimulate your digestive system, including stimulate your body's production of digestive enzymes. They help with the overall digestive process, like helping your liver out and overall good health. And although they can be eaten directly, such as eating greens, bitter tasting greens, most often they're done in the form of, tinctures or infusions, and we're going to talk about some of these forms. Now, the other thing you want to know is they're called bitters, and that is because, yes, they often have a bitter flavor. They can also have a sour flavor or a bittersweet flavor, but they can be an acquired taste, and so you can play with different forms to be able to do it in a way that you want to do it and or your children. So examples of digestive bitters. Well, we have an article on our blog written quite a while back by Andrea, 3 easy ways to use digestive bitters. And that is linked for you at askwardee.tv. Look for episode 129. You'll find a link to that article. And Andrea in that article says you can simply have salads with bitter greens. Examples would be chicory, radicchio, dandelion, arugula. And we often do that. We have I'll either buy some arugula separately and I'll throw it in with our salad greens. Just a hint of it instead of an entire bowl of it. That's what we like. So then your entire salad's not bitter, but the bitter arugula, for instance, is balanced with like the sweet greens and the other flavors that are in your salad dressing and your salad. Okay, you can also make more concentrated bitter concoctions. The first example I have here is an infusion where you would take bitter herbs. And we have a whole list of them at that article I mentioned that Andrea wrote, so be sure to find and follow that link. But in here, I've got, dandelion, fennel, licorice, chamomile, chicory, and there may be one other. And for an infusion, it's similar to a tea in that you're combining herbs and roots and whatnot and flowers with boiling water, but you use more herbs than you would for a tea and you steep for longer than you would for a tea. So ideally you're aiming to infuse the herbs into the liquid for, overnight or 8 hours or something. So you might be making this the night before, then the morning of, you're straining it and sipping on it throughout the day. A tincture is probably the most potent and concentrated way to get your bitter herbs and your bitters. And a tincture can either be made by steeping your herbs, roots, and whatnot in alcohol for 6 weeks in a dark cupboard. And we do have instructions for that if you follow the links with this episode. Or you can also make an alcohol-free tincture with glycerin. And that takes 3 days in a warm environment like a crock pot. And again, we have instructions for you if you follow the link with askwardee.tv, episode 129. So an infusion, you're going to be sipping on before, during, and after your meal. A tincture, you're going to be taking a dropper full of this, combining it with a small amount of water, like 1 ounce of water, and drinking that before or during your meal. And people say before, during, or after. It is my opinion that these are best if you have them before your meal. But of course, if you've missed that, it's not too late. Have it with your meal or after your meal. So these are examples of bitters and kind of the forms they would take. Now, who can use digestive bitters? Well, anyone can use digestive bitters. If you have tummy problems, if you feel like your digestion is slow, if you have stomach aches, pains, either when you're eating, right after you're eating, or in the hours after you're eating that you feel is related to your digestion, well, you could use the stimulation of your digestive system that bitters provide. The stimulation of your digestive enzymes, the proper balance in your stomach, and all the way down to all the organs that are involved in your digestion. Bitters can help with that. So if you feel you have any kind of digestive issues, give it a try. Okay, can children take digestive bitters? I'm not a doctor. I can't give medical advice, so you do want to consult with your own doctor. Do your own research. It is generally known that children over the age of 2 or 2 and older can use digestive bitters. However, they're not as big as we are, so you would want to reduce the dosages or the servings accordingly for their size. So for instance, an adult, 150-pound adult is going to use, depending on where you buy your bitters or make them yourself, is going to use 1 dropper full of a tincture. So if a child is 75 pounds, that means they would use half a dropper full, and so on. So you just reduce according to their size. Okay, how to use them. So I was telling you about the forms of them earlier. So bitters, you can just incorporate the greens right in your salad like I was talking about. You can have infusions that you sip with your meals. You can have tinctures that you dilute in a little bit of water with your meal. And then the final form that I wanted to show you is tablets such as this. This has HCl to help balance your stomach acids, hydrochloric acid. It has pepsin, which is an enzyme that helps digest protein in particular, and it has gentian bitters. And I want to call out this gentian bitters because my friend Megan believes that gentian is the best bitter, and I have a link for you with the show notes, askwardee.tv, look for episode 129, to Megan's 2-ingredient homemade bitter recipe. But this tablet comes with kind of like a whole spectrum of help for your digestive system. And I have a link for that at the show notes as well. So it's an option for you. Perhaps it's the option if you feel like you just can't take the taste or haven't adjusted to the bitter flavor. Another example on how to use bitters if you're having trouble with the taste, and this comes from Andrea, who wrote the article I mentioned earlier, 3 Ways to Use Bitters. Well, she mentions that you can do a blend of bitter herbs when you're making your own infusion or tincture. And so she suggests doing things like clove or cinnamon or chamomile. Actually, chamomile is a bitter, so she's suggesting cloves, cinnamon, ginger for one. Anyway, there's 4 different ones that'll kind of balance the flavor and make it more palatable. So you can do a blend, or you can do it just gentian or just another bitter. Like Megan says, you kind of have a lot of options there. But the most important thing that I want to stress here is that a bottle of bitters, which there are good brands out there, and we can help you with that if you need them. A bottle of bitters can cost, if it's 1 ounce or 2 ounce, but it can cost you $20 to $40 or more. Whereas if you're going to make it yourself with the bulk herbs and have your own vodka that you purchase for an alcohol extract, or your own glycerin that you purchase for an alcohol-free extract or tincture, you will save tons of money. If you're doing infusions, you're going to save a ton of money if you buy the herbs in bulk and blend them yourself. You can purchase some of these herbs at the bulk herb store. We recommend that. You may find them at Azure Standard. You may find them on Amazon. And so if you need help finding a particular herb, we do have links at that article I mentioned by Andrea. So you can follow links to purchase any of the herbs listed there. And pretty much you can save a lot of money if you if you make it yourself. I do want to say though, you might want to purchase a couple things, just see if they help before you make the investment in bulk herbs. But once you know they work, then go for it. For many, the bitter taste is going to take some adjustment. Well, you can do capsules, but you can also blend, like I was telling you, with complementary and balancing ingredients. Cardamom was the one I was missing. Cardamom, cinnamon, clove, or ginger. They'll make it taste better. And like this infusion I made, I added chamomile, which tastes great. And I think the licorice and fennel that's in it are going to give it that licoricey flavor. So I'm looking forward to trying this one. I think it's going to taste really good. All right, so Rachel, thanks so much for your question. I hope that you give digestive bitters a try. In our family, bitters in all these forms help tremendously. This is very easy, but it's kind of fun to do the tinctures and infusions too. We love sipping on infusions for all kinds of ailments, allergies, PMS, digestion, herbs are so powerful and they can be so yummy. If you haven't already grabbed your free traditional cooking cupboard, it's your virtual bookshelf where we have 14 plus free ebooks as well as a traditional cooking video series. Please do that. It's at tradcookschool.com/yoursfree, where yours free is all one word. Thanks so much, everyone. God bless you. Bye-bye.